Trump was criticized for his controversial call for a ban on all Muslims entering the US, while Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio clashed on surveillance and immigration policy. For more on this, I'm joined now by George Ajian, an international political consultant. Hello, thank you very much indeed for your time. Now, Donald Trump, the frontrunner, went into this debate stronger than ever, this despite his comments on Muslims, on Mexicans, on women. How is this possible?
Well, we're really in uncharted territory to have an outsider candidate who, one might say, peaked too early, but his peaks don't seem to disappear. He has little valleys and then he peaks again based on the latest controversial remarks that he makes. And whether people like it or not, the field is still very much in these debates. And as we look at the entire context of the Republican primary, it's still very much Trump against everyone else. And none of the other candidates has managed to face him head on and create a dynamic where it's Trump and another main contender.
Do you think that Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio are just waiting for Trump to fall on his sword, so to speak, and that it could end up being a Cruz-Rubio contest? Or who do you see in the lead towards the end?
Listen, I remember 8 years ago when John McCain was on his last legs, his campaign was highly in debt, and no one would have expected him to become the nominee. And then former Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto was assassinated, and suddenly McCain became the go-to person because of his foreign policy credentials. No one could have predicted that to happen. Likewise, I can't stand here and pretend to predict to you what may happen. Cruz is rising in the polls. Rubio has been pretty steady and is doing well in the polls. But a number of different things can happen that we can't even foresee right now. And remember, we are in middle of December. Not a vote will be cast until February 1st in the Iowa caucuses and then on February 9th in New Hampshire. And there's only one more debate, Republican debate, in the middle of January until then. So that's virtually a lifetime for the dynamics of this race to change.
Now, this pool of Republican candidates makes politicians like Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush look like moderates. What's going on with the Republican Party these days?
Well, look, there's a large feeling of frustration amongst the Republican base. They feel that the party has not distinguished itself from the Democrats. And look, this goes back to the formation of the Tea Party several years ago. These dynamics are still very much in play. And that's why we have such a large field of candidates, each trying to claim that mantle and cling to being the outsider who's the real conservative, who's going to restore conservative principles to the Republican Party. Trump came in and suddenly it's a whole new ballgame, whereas all those other people like Cruz or Rand Paul or Chris Christie, who under normal circumstances would have extraordinarily good chances of claiming that mantle, suddenly seem irrelevant when you have someone like Trump with his bombastic remarks in the picture. And he also knows very well how to manipulate the media, how to create scandals and control them. And no one has been able to knock him off his pedestal thus far.
Is it fair to say that facts don't really count for much? I mean, there have been a few debates now, and each time fact checkers catch some of the candidates out. I mean, do facts even matter anymore?
Yes, it's an excellent point. And let's be honest, at this point in the race, the campaigns are not very robust. The fact that Trump can make some of the comments that he's made, which are quite ridiculous and offensive across the board, that haven't seemed to affect him. It's because the race is not robust enough. When you have 9 other people chomping at the bit trying to criticize or get their 2 cents in, it's not as if there's enough time for scrutiny of what Trump or anyone else is actually saying. And so at this point, candidates are very much focused on raising money. They're trying to keep the numbers alive. They're going from poll to poll, from debate to debate. What we don't know is what the internal polling numbers of these candidates look like. If they're smart, they're spending their money doing polling, doing opinion research to find out how strong Trump's lead really is, and who are Trump voters' second choice, and how likely are they to flip to someone else. And people need to play on that. So unfortunately, I think it's going to continue this way, as you say, a factless sort of a thing, until we get to the actual point where people are casting votes, and that's not until February.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, George Ajian, for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you.